Morning, Raptor Freak. Alexiot's here. Uh, Tuesday morning after a good game against the Lakers last night. We beat the Lakers, won four straight on this West Coast swing right now. Really, really good. Um, I'm starting late because I was up till 3 o'clock last night watching replays and press conferences after the game. And I literally just woke up after 11 like 10 minutes ago. So if I seem a little out of sorts, it's because I just woke up. The DST, the West Coast trip, all that kind of stuff is affecting me getting on my regular schedule. So I'm sorry that I'm after 11 a.m. Please consider that the time changed and we're on a West Coast trip. Banana Bread Tan, good morning. Glad you're here right away with me. Let's go. Oh, we got a lot to talk about today. Oh, yeah. Tan saying, man, I thought my boy Alex was sick. Who? Oh, you thought I was sick? Yeah, no, I was. It was really just like I said. I just slept. I got up at like 9 this morning, and I was like, no, I need to sleep some more. I'm really tired. I don't want to be like horrible for the day. And I said, I'll go back to sleep and I'll get up sometime around 10:30. But then I overslept and I got up at 11. So it is what it is. Tom Duke, good morning. Yeah, I knew. Yeah, it's gonna be this kind of thing this week. So I may be a little shifted later. I know it's super early yesterday, but like it's crazy. Yesterday I got up at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I stayed up until like 3:30 a.m. last night. So I was up for like 21 hours yesterday. It's like a full almost 24-hour day. Good morning, Sue. What a game. Nice to see Scotty take it to LeBron. Yeah, this is a great way to start this whole reaction today, because that's basically how the game started last night. Scotty came out and scored 6 straight points, showing dominance right away over the Lakers. And he really did dominate the first quarter in a way and gave us a lead that was bad as fuck. Like, honestly, Scotty, you are doing the things you need to do to get the Rookie of the Year uh, award. That was a great big stage last night. You frustrated the hell out of LeBron last night. That was so dirty. LeBron showed his punk ass even worse last night. I couldn't believe how frustrated he got and some of the things that he did in that game. There were 3 plays in particular, and I know you guys know which 3 plays I'm talking about, and we will talk about each one of them. Oh, yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. But let's talk about the good stuff first. Scotty was a badass. It's too bad he couldn't spread out the scoring and like be more scoring later on and add to his number and make it really high, because he got those points so early that we were all starting to think, is this guy going to go for 40 points or something crazy, like really high? Because that would have been the right stage to do it. But we went away from him. The game kind of naturally went away from him at a certain point. He got some foul trouble and he couldn't continue that kind of clip for the whole game, which is too bad, because he really did score almost all of his points in the first quarter. And the crazy thing about this is, y'all, Scotty himself by himself outscored the Lakers in the first quarter. Yeah, he can say that the first time he ever played LeBron, in the first 12 minutes of the game that he played against him, he single-handedly outscored his team in that quarter, because I honestly didn't think the Lakers were going to get double digits in the first quarter. The way we were playing them on defense and how bad they shot, it was just like the right combination. We're showing them our premium defense. They're like, whoa, what the fuck? We can't do anything. I listened to the Laker commentators last night, and they were eating crow the whole fucking game, saying such stupid shit. It was kind of fun to listen to them, actually, because yeah, they have to they're having such a bad season. You can tell these people are just beaten down by this point in the season. Yeah, but it was really nice to see Scotty be so dominant right away, and he really did decide that he wanted to do that. And he beat the Lakers himself. He can say that he beat the Lakers in 12 minutes at the beginning of the game. So good. All right, let me see what y'all are saying. Oh yeah, you filled it up nice. You filled it up just like we filled it up last night. I love it. Okay, Tom Duke's going to bring up the first one. LeBron throwing that ball at Scotty says it all. Not only did he listen, all right, because I've looked at that play a little bit since and stuff like that. Scotty, LeBron was so frustrated with Scotty because of how he was showing him up, how he was looking good. He was going at him. Who knows if he may have talked some shit to him also while he's out there, and deservedly so, because the rookie was backing it up. And LeBron, what the fuck were you doing? None of the Lakers had double digits by halftime. That is how amazing we were playing yesterday. That not a single one of these future Hall of Famers, I don't know if they're future Hall of Famers. I know LeBron is, but those other guys, I don't know for sure. I mean, they probably are just because of, the NBA likes to suck their dicks. But what I'll say is, listen, none of those future Hall of Famers had double digits by halftime last night. And that's a testament to our defense and the way we played. That LeBron couldn't get his 30 until later in the game when the game was a bit more busted open and we weren't playing as well. We let them kind of get back into things, and he did get 30 points by the end, but he didn't do jack shit early. And one of the things that happened with that play when it was going out of bounds, he did not have to throw the ball at Scotty. That's the fucked up thing is he was standing there and he had a teammate right over there. He could have tried to throw it to him and keep the ball in play. But instead, he decided to take a cheap shot and nail him in the midsection with the ball as hard as he could. And I don't understand how he gets away with this shit with the refs, because the refs should have called something at that point, because that was a menacing move that wasn't natural. That was like, yeah, sure, you throw the ball off somebody, but he was actually looking to see where he could throw it, because he could have chose where he threw it, and he threw it as hard as he could. And what a punk move. And even after that, he even got in Scotty's face too. He came up to him and did a little Bobby Portis Jr. kind of move where he's like, I'm in your face. I'm trying to intimidate you. LeBron, you are such a bully and a fake. You are a fake in some ways. Sure, you have this stats and this career to back up a lot of shit, but in a lot of ways as a person, you are fake. And boy, that whole play right there just said it all. He didn't have to do that. That was petty. And listen, you know what? This is the part I love about it is Scotty's reaction. Scotty had a reaction like the roles were reversed. Like what LeBron did is what a rookie would do, and what Scotty did is what LeBron should have been doing. He had his held up his head, and he didn't let it affect him. He didn't even act like it was a big deal. He didn't even react to it. And some guys have less temper. They get right up in his face and jump up and try and throw arms on him. So part of it was maybe LeBron was trying to get Scotty pissed off and maybe get him thrown out of the game by doing something like that. Yeah, that's the nefariousness of this. But I love Scotty all pro. And this has happened a couple times this week. Jokic was hitting him dirty the other night too, and he didn't react. He didn't take the bait. He didn't get into it like Justin did earlier this season with PJ Washington. Scotty is smart. He is really smart. And this is another way he's not like other rookies, is he's so smart. He's doing veteran things when faced with adversity on the court. When somebody's being a bully or somebody's doing something like that, he didn't react and make it worse. And I love him for it. And in the press conference, he said, the only thing I was doing in that situation was I was trying to cover my face, because I knew he's going to throw it and he was going to throw it hard. I saw him winding back and I'm like, oh, it's coming. But he didn't have any hate or anything like that. There's still a respect there because it's LeBron James to him. He's got to have some respect for him to a degree. And he's kind of in awe of him in a degree too also. But he's also kind of like, you know what? That's kind of messed up. But then again, he's also kind of like, this is a rite of passage. I'm in the NBA and I just pissed off LeBron James to the point where he had to throw a ball at me in my midsection like that. That was so fucked up. And that wasn't the only fucked up play LeBron did last night. There were two other ones. I want to see if y'all can name them. You can put them in there, and when I see them, I will talk about them. But that one with Scotty, really impressed with the rookie's poise and not taking the bait, and such a petty fuck. LeBum is. He's such a petty fuck. Oh my gosh, it's so sweet. And you know what? He wouldn't do a press interview after the game. He refused. The Lakers said LeBron James will not be available to the press after the game last night. That's right, because that motherfucker doesn't want to talk about how shitty his team is, how good the Raptors are, and how his fucking whole life in his basketball world is on fire and is a fucking house on fire, and he hates it, and he knows that clock is ticking. Because I'm going to tell you right now, those motherfuckers looked old last night. They looked old to me. Whether it was Carmelo, whether it was Russell, whether it was LeBron. All three of those motherfuckers look old. Like they have one foot out the door in the league, and that maybe they shouldn't be playing anymore because these guys were at such a high level. Like if Michael was playing at their ages right now, he wouldn't fucking settle for some crazy piddly single digit kind of shit. He would be out there fucking making the most out of his game, even at a 40-year-old age or something like that. There's another difference right there. There's a certain pride. in the greatest of all time called Michael Air Jordan that there's not inside LeBron James. That pride is not there because at this point in the season, they should have figured out some shit and been way better than they were last night. I'm shocked at how awful they are, how they are not, they don't work together, they don't do nothing. And every single one of those young players that are on the Lakers roster right now, they're getting a disservice because they're getting taught all the worst things you could learn in the NBA: how to lose, how to be dysfunctional, how to act like a prima donna, how to fucking not be with your teammates and be selfish, all that shit. So I feel bad for people like Austin Reeves and Malik Monk and all those guys because they're getting a real good crash course on how not to run an NBA team, how not to play as an NBA team, how not to be an NBA veteran, and how not to be a future Hall of Famer. And they get it all right from their leaders on their team, which honestly, none of those motherfuckers are leaders at this point. Like Carmelo, sure, I would kind of give Carmelo a leadership role and things on that team, but he's so limited in some ways. Like, I wonder why the fuck did they not start Carmelo? Like, what is going on with this? Oh my gosh. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. We'll keep going. I know there's going to be a lot to say today. Jimmy's saying, I had a good morning knowing we pissed off LeBron last night. Love to see it. Yes, Jimmy. It's so good to see the tears, the bullshit from LeBron. You know, when he did that to Scotty, when he threw the ball as midsection, I was kind of like the emperor. I was like, yes, let the hate flow through you. Yes. You know, it's that kind of shit from Return of the Jedi. You're just like, yeah, motherfucker, feel that hate and feel that anger because we got you. We shook you. And you are feeling this way to the point where, oh my gosh, we'll say it when you guys say it. I mean, we'll see it. Banana Bread 10 saying it's all good, bro. What a game. Scotty, Pascal, Gary, Trent. We had that three-prong attack again last night. Like looking at the box score, instead of Chris Boucher, this night it was Gary Trent stepping up and standing beside Pascal and Scotty as our 20-point scorers last night, and they did fantastic. And Gary, listen, it was kind of a tale of different quarters. We had Scotty take over the beginning of the game and really set the tone, get us out to like a crazy 20-point lead, like 6 minutes into the game. We were up like 24-2 or something like that at that point. It was fucking fantastic. I loved that shit. Like, I loved seeing their score at 2. And we knew that our rookie, our boy Scott, had already like 17 points, and the fucking Lakers had 2 points. That was pure jokes. I was telling myself, I love these late night comedy shows on from the West Coast. Yeah, eat your heart out, Johnny Carson. We got some new comedy shows to watch out west, and that was the Lakers playing basketball, or at least trying to play basketball. It was a goddamn comedy show. Because I found myself laughing my ass off all through the first quarter in the first half for the most part. The second half is a little different, but also I was real sure that we were going to win anyway. But I hated how they closed the gap a bit, that they got some success against us, that they got up off their ass and did something. Maybe we were too lackadaisical because we were beating them so good, and we kind of left some openings for like these vets. These guys are vets. They're going to know how to score and do certain things in certain ways. But I didn't like that we let it get down to like being only a 12-point lead, something like that. And that's too bad. But because I wanted to rout them, but in a way, really, didn't we just rout them anyway? Like, even if they built it back up, they really didn't realistically have a chance at the end because we kept that lead good and nice and wide, but they did shrink it. So I'll give them that. And one thing about that I don't like is I hope that the stuff that they did in the second half doesn't get expanded against us on the game on Friday here in Toronto, because they're going to see us again on Friday, and they're going to use some of the stuff from last night in the game on Friday to hopefully have more success than they did last night is what they're going to be thinking. So yeah, crazy stuff, and so good. The three-prong attack last night, Scotty, Pascal, because Scotty first quarter, second quarter was a little it was kind of a little bit of everybody. Gary big in the third, and Pascal was kind of throughout the whole game, here and there, picking his spots. Really good stuff. Callie, good morning. I was tired too. So glad we came out strong in that game. Scotty was great. LeBron acted like a big baby. Yeah, who's the guy who's been in the league for 20 years? Who's the guy who's played so many fucking games and acts like that? Like, seriously, man, you are not a good role model in some ways for people. You are in some ways outside on the court, but on the court, you're not. As a basketball player, in some ways, you're not. And I'm gonna be glad when the LeBron era in the NBA is over. I know a lot of people just love him, and they just think he's the greatest. And there's a lot of Raptor fans that look at him as their favorite player, but the Raptors are their favorite team. I still don't get that. I don't understand how you can do that. I can't reconcile that your favorite player is LeBron, but you root for the Raptors. That's bullshit. That does not compute in my Android head, because that's like does not compute. You should hate LeBron if you're truly a Raptor fan, because of the years and years of heartache that he did to us. If you're new to the show and you don't understand all that, then maybe go back and learn. But yeah, that can't reconcile that. If you're a LeBron fan and a Raptors fan, there's something that's not right there. You're either a LeBron fan more or a Raptors fan more. You can't be both equally. I'm sorry. It's just impossible. Banana Bread Tan says, bro, we dominated them. The league was shook. I think the league is starting to get shook. Like I said, the more we collect these W's on this West Coast trip, we now have 4 in a row. All 4 of our Western opponents we have beaten on this road trip. Now we beat the Clippers tomorrow night, and that makes it a perfect 5 out of 5 with all the Western teams on this road trip. And that is a badass thing to do. Any kind of Western road trip is hard. There's travel, there's time zones, there's jumping around, there's altitude, there's all kinds of bullshit. And the fact that our guys are road warriors still, we were the ultimate road warriors last year. We had all of our games on the road last year, and we're still ultimate road warriors this year, that we can run the gauntlet. I see this road trip, I say I want half them to be wins, 3 out of 6. That'd be beautiful. Boy, we're going to go and try and get 5 out of 6 on Wednesday night. And I'm all for it. And I know I have a good feeling that we're going to do real good. Now, there's a couple of things I'm worried about between last night and the game on Wednesday. Is they're standing pat. They're not going anywhere. They get to hang out because the game's in the same arena, Staples or Crypto or whatever, Crypto. And they got to go out last night in LA. They're going to get to do an off day in LA today. So I hope that they're really up and ready for the game tomorrow night. And once again, I cannot say this enough, that this is a really fucked up advantage the Lakers are getting by flying to Minnesota and having their game on Wednesday night in Minnesota. And we have to stay in LA and play in LA Wednesday night. And we have to make the trip back and the jet lag real quick, and it sucks. And the Lakers will have more time to adjust. They're already a couple time zones closer to Toronto time zone right now. Probably they got on a plane after the game last night and probably flew straight to Minnesota, so their body has time to acclimate to Central time, which is much easier than Pacific time, to go from Pacific time to Eastern time in like 48 hours, which we're going to have to do, where they can go from Pacific time to Eastern time over 4 days. And that's the shadiness of the schedule. And like we would have that advantage if we had been on the east side playing games and the Lakers had come through as a Western team like most do, then we would have advantage. But they set it up this way. It's really fucked up. Paul B saying it was a beatdown. That's right. Tom Duke saying our boys were swimming in the maple syrup in the first quarter. It was, man. It was a syrup fest in the beginning. I was like, damn, this stack of pancakes may be pretty high. So we may need a lot of syrup. There may be a lot of syrup pouring on this game with beating the Lakers down. And there was heavy syrup. We went to the Waffle House and we got a little bit of the maple. We went and got the strawberry syrup. We got all the different types of syrup, the pecan syrup. We were pouring all the syrup on them last night. It was that heavy and thick early. But later, once again, like I said, there's some pride on the Lakers side. They didn't want to make it look so bad. And we did kind of let them in. We didn't play as tough. Because at a certain point, you play really intense and tough, but then you see this other team, they're kind of like fucking around. You kind of get down low a little bit. And it's a little bit of kind of a possum game by LeBron. It's like, oh, I don't want to play at your intensity of energy and stuff. So please just play like us for a little bit. And we kind of relented. And I hate that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want us to make it easier for them or let them have any chance to come back in different ways. Whether it's them starting to hit threes like with THT and stuff like that. That was really annoying. But we won. That's all that matters. Ultimately, we won. But I really wanted to keep that syrup layer real thick the whole game through. But we couldn't, unfortunately. It's too bad. All right, let's see. Sue saying, yeah, that was a douche move on LeBron's part to throw that ball at him. But Scotty showed his class by not reacting. Yeah, and even in the post-game interview, he didn't react. He didn't react in the game time at the time. Like, he was strangely serene and calm during that whole situation. Like, I would have been like either like pissed off, or I would have been like, whoa, he just did that. LeBron just threw the ball at me. Ooh, something like that. Maybe he was like that inside. It's like, this is kind of like childhood dreams. This is like a guy he's seen since he was growing up. Obviously, he's been playing as long as he's alive. He's 20 years old. How long has LeBron been playing? 20 years. So LeBron's always been in the NBA since Scotty's been aware of this world. So it's like it's got to be a little bit dreamlike and surreal like, and it's got to be pretty cool to beat this guy down like this. Like LeBron didn't want to come out and go into the press conference and give a Raptor rookie flowers, is basically what happened last night. That motherfucker, what a fucking piece of shit. Like you said, well, no, I'm not talking to the press tonight. You're the leading scorer for the Lakers. You're supposed to come in and be available for the press, but you weren't available for the press last night. I wonder why. LeBron. Yeah, I wonder why. Jimmy said he definitely had the opportunity to score more, but he got kind of passive. Yeah, I don't know if we were looking for him as much. He wasn't looking as aggressively at times. Like, there's a couple different things he could have done different last night that could have got him more points later. Like, if he had done a little bit more Chris Boucher type work, like really getting on the offensive glass, because the Lakers had nobody. Like, we could really do whatever the fuck we want, honestly, in this game. Like, there were times when I would see the Lakers on their bench, and the way that Russell and LeBron and the coach were looking at each other, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have no idea. With all these years it accumulated, and you see the mess ups on the court, some of the dumb shit they do, like the passes that LeBron tries to throw these guys, they have no chance to catching. It's just pure jokes that they're this point in March and they haven't got anywhere on the same page as a team. That is dysfunction to a T. This team is worse than I thought they were. Like, I honestly thought they'd be better last night. I think a lot of people were surprised at how bad and dysfunctional the Lakers were last night. That was really bad, really, really bad. Sue said LeBron's reactions deserved the tech. He might have deserved to be thrown out of the game last night by the certain point, because, all right, I'll talk about the other two things he did that were really messed up. The thing that he did to Gary was fucked up, because he could have really honestly hurt Gary when he slammed him to the court. Gary was sideways and he took his body and he pushed him. He pushed him with his muscles down into the court. And he threw him into the ground. There was a foul call on that call, and that was rightfully so. But there should have been a flagrant foul on LeBron at that point. That play with Gary Trent was so dirty. That may have been the dirtiest one of the three I'm talking about. That he grabbed him while he was in the air, and he literally tried to hurt him by throwing him into the ground. And I hate that. That's such a cheap play. But once again, Gary did not get up and get in his face. Gary had a couple of opportunities to get out of his game because of bullshit, like that thing with Russell Westbrook at that one point. That was really interesting, because what happened there was Gary was being a bully to their rookie, Austin Reeves. He kind of hit him pretty good on a screen, and Russell was trying to be a good vet and stand up for Austin Reeves. So he told him, he's like, you can't do that to my guy. And Gary talked shit right back to him. And that was that whole exchange right there, where he's like not backing down to Russell, protecting his rookie from him hitting him. And that was awesome. And I love that Gary kind of got out of his funk. He was shooting really bad in the first half. Like, he was 1 for 8 or something by halftime. And I was like, fuck, it's going to be one of these games from him. But he turned it around in the second half and he blew up. And he almost got 30 points or something like that by the end of the game. That's pretty good, considering he was really struggling by halftime. So really proud of Gary also for keeping his head in the game, even when there was adversity thrown at him, whether it was that hard foul by LeBron throwing him to the ground or the Russell Westbrook exchange at that moment. Like, I really thought that they were going to scrap the way that they were getting right in each other's faces, Gary. So Gary's kind of that baller, like street school mentality kind of guy that's like on our team. I love that attitude. We need that more. And he's the kind of guy that does it right for us, because he's professional about it. He has that edge and he shows it when he needs to, but most of the time he's just professional. He's not a knucklehead taken away from the team. Like a lot of guys who can have that kind of edge on the team. If they're that kind of baller mentality and they're just like, I'm going to take it to you and stuff like that, they can have a bad part of it. It's a negative part that takes away from it. So let's keep going. And then the other one is the one with Pascal. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Banana Bread Tan, Paul B, blah, blah, blah. Okay. G. Did you see the media defend LeBron's frustration? Wow, I didn't think they could get lower than they have. Listen, all right, I'm going to get real quick and real quick right now. One of the things you can see through sports is parallels to real life. One of the things you can see in sports is sometimes they open us our eyes to mechanisms in society that we may not easily be able to see because they're covered up in other ways. And one of those ways is inequality. And people laugh at me when I say this, that the Raptors, if you really want to learn about what inequality and privilege and things like that, these words that are bandied around so much in society these days by woke culture, if you want to learn what privilege it means, is you can look at the NBA and you can learn from it. LeBron James has privilege. The Raptors do not have privilege in some ways, in this sense, in some ways. And the media is the prop up, the support of keeping that kind of status quo. And what's happening with what you're saying is the media is keeping the status quo of LeBron being more important than the Raptors by making us lesser. And that's inequality in a nutshell right there. If you guys want to learn about things like inequality and things like that, and some people will say, whoa, Lex, you're crazy. You can't equate these things. I'm not saying they're the exact same things or they're one's more insidious than the other. One is more insidious than the other. It's the one that's in society, of course, because this is just play games on TV is what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, though, is that gives you a real good example that you can feel and understand yourself. That maybe at me as a white male with a lot of privilege in different ways, I learned more about inequality from watching the Raptors get treated unequal. And this is what I'm saying, y'all. We can learn things from sports deeper about our society. So these are opportunities for us to understand privilege and inequality. And what happens to the Raptors in the eyes of the NBA media in the US is inequality. And privilege is for LeBron. LeBron has privilege. Like he did so much shady shit last night. He did get golden boy calls. He got to the foul line when he probably shouldn't have gotten the foul line. All that kind of stuff. And he still acted like a big baby, a big suck. And he was a horrible role model for young people last night. You know, you get frustrated on the court, you throw people around on the court and you sling balls at people and you elbow people in the face. What the fuck kind of message is that to young kids? We need more good players like Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet that show good role models for children. So I got real heavy and deep with different things right there, but I'm saying, and it's not that I'm saying they're the same level or what is more important. It's one in society. Inequality in society is way more important than inequality in basketball, but basketball is out there for all of us to see right in front of us visibly and understand what that stuff really means. If some people can't understand what it is, like me in some ways, I'm a privileged person, but I understand more about inequality and privilege because of things in the NBA like that. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, let me keep going. Let me see where we are on this. Jimmy Pope said he definitely had the opportunity to score more, but he kind of got passive. LeBron's reaction deserved the tech. When he slammed the ball, he deserved a tech. G saying Chris Broussard was like Scotty, better not have had a problem with that. Literally trying to turn it on Scotty. The media is embarrassing. They are embarrassing. And the funny thing is, if you watch the game last night, the Raptors look good all around. We look good as a better team, playing better as professionals, not taking the bait and being petty. Like any smart basketball person or any person with eyes could have watched that game and seen how goonish and how infantile the Lakers acted at times, LeBron specifically. And, you know, the ESPN is going to it's propaganda at this fucking point to keep up the legend and the folklore of LeBron. Because I'll tell you what, last night we made them look like they need to maybe have 1 foot out of their careers in the NBA. That these motherfuckers may really need to think about retiring this summer or maybe next summer or something like that. And people may be like, you're crazy. He just had a 50-point game. Yeah, well, we're the future, and he just seen what he's going to have to deal with. And these motherfuckers don't want to have to keep up with people like the Raptors or the Pistons or teams like this coming up. So, yeah, they may really want to seriously consider retiring soon, Russell and LeBron, because the game's going to move past y'all, and you're going to get more and more frustrated and acting like whiny babies. And I'll tell you what, middle-aged whiny babies are not attractive, and nobody has any sympathy for fucks like you at that age when you're like that. I'm going to tell you right now, because if you ain't figured it out by then and you're whiny baby, then you might as well just be a whiny baby till you're old and dead. That's what I'm saying. All right. Keep going. Tom Duke saying Worthy is the worst commentator. Was a great player though. Was James Worthy calling the game last night? That you were you watching the Lakers feed? That's not James Worthy that was calling the game with the Laker guy. That was some other dude. He sounded like he was half asleep. Yeah, that was not James Worthy. I know you think it was. He kind of looks like him, but he has like a gray beard. It was a different dude than James Worthy. I don't know if they had two different broadcasts. I was watching Spectrum Sports, and that they don't have James Worthy on their broadcast group. But yeah, the other guy, they were idiots. Like at one point, the play-by-play for the Lakers kept going on about, well, if the Raptors are so good, why are they in the 7th seed? Motherfucker, we were supposed to be in the 10th seed or the 11th seed, and we're in this, or in the 13th seed or the 14th seed. Motherfuckers like you predicting things last year. We're in the 7th seed. We overachieved, bitch. So you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, why are they in the 7th seed? They should be better if they're so good. Motherfucker, we are better because we were supposed to be worse. And the other thing is that he's not even like every other team in the league. We've had COVID problems. We've had injury problems. We've had different problems. So it's like, I hate statements like that. And like, who is he to say anything? Look at where his team is in the standings on the other side. Yeah, we're 7th. Y'all are fucking like almost out of the play-in. You're about to fall out of it, actually. Like they'll be lucky if they continue to be in the play-in by the end of the year. I'm telling you right now, I'd love to see the Spurs just come right up and fucking put the motherfucking Lakers out of the play-in by the end of the year. And that's very, very could happen because the Spurs are a good team and they can win games going out still. And the Pelicans are right there nipping at the Lakers' heels. They jump over them. And then the Lakers in the last spot in the play-in on the Western side. And then the Spurs take it from them before the end of the season. And the Lakers don't even fucking get in the play-in. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I think that could really seriously happen. Seymour Pape saying LeBum is a bully. That elbow on Pascal at the end of the game was a crazy dirty. Yep. And listen, this smacks of the shit that he did to Beef Stew earlier this year with that elbow at the free throw line bullshit. That is very calculated. He's been playing how many fucking games, how many minutes on an NBA court? You don't think he knows what he's doing with his body at any given time? That elbow to Pascal's face was so dirty. And the way he crumpled to the ground after it, I was like, if motherfucking LeBron James just put Pascal Siakam out on our injury list because of any kind of bullshit just now, I'm going to be like, I have a hate for LeBron, but I would have had even more of a hate if he had taken out our number one guy at the end of the game for petty shit, just at the end of the game with that fucking elbow. If he had broken his nose like Ken Burch's nose had got broken or any other bullshit had happened, I would have been so pissed off. And we would have all been pissed off. And you know what? The NBA should have really fucking came down on LeBron if that shit had happened. But they didn't even call anything on that fucking play. It's such bullshit. And once again, we're the bigger people. We just pick ourselves up and we keep playing and we act like nothing happened. See, that's part of the whole inequality thing too in it, is that people that get slighted like this have to say nothing, have to eat crow, and have to keep going in their lives and continue to do what they're supposed to do, whether it's their job, whether it's whatever they have to do in their life. This is part of reality also, is that people get slighted like that do have to do that and shut up and just take it. And that sucks. And that's what I'm saying. We get a good window at the world of inequality in the world from the NBA is what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. Jimmy's saying that definitely needs context, that play. There's so much different context. That play was obviously dirty. That's LeBron's anger about being so shit as a team, the Lakers, his goals and his dreams for this year. And it's like, this is fucked up. If you go watch my previews at the beginning of the season, I'll tell you how I thought this season was going to go down. And the way things have been going for the Raptors have been pretty much what I said. I was hoping we'd get to the top 4, but we've had issues with injuries and COVID and different things like that. So, but we're still right on track and doing a lot of the things I said we do developmentally. Well, what did I say about the Lakers? I said the Lakers are going to be old, the Lakers are going to be lazy, and the Lakers are going to be shitty. And they're exactly what I predicted also on that. So, and LeBron and all Lakers nations, they had rose tinted glasses. They were like, oh, we're going to be so good. Look at us on paper. Look at all these great names, all these fucking retirement home names. You guys had like a lot of the retirement home guys are gone. You realized at the beginning of the season that you had all these old dudes and you had to start letting some of them go, whether it was DeAndre Jordan, Rajon Rondo, all these other fucking old guys you had on the team too with all these guys. Yeah, it's such a mess in the Lakers. There's such dysfunction. I love it. I love it. They are, like I said, the opposite of who we are. They don't work. They don't play together. They don't have any kind of with each other, obviously, because you could see it. Like LeBron was really giving the cold shoulder to different people on his team in different ways with his body language last night. I'm an expert on this shit. This is part of the reason why I have insight and what I tell you guys about, whether it's an interview with a player or anything like that. I'm reading their body language. I'm reading their expression on their face. I'm reading what's below the surface. And I do that during games also. And that's why I see a lot of shit that some people don't see. And LeBron is giving the cold shoulder to different people, specific people on his team that he is not happy with. And you know what? It's very telling to me that Trevor Ariza and Kent Bazemore did not play last night. That these guys are on the outs with LeBron right now. That you could have really easily used Trevor Ariza last night. Lakers, yeah, but why isn't he playing? He's probably because he's in the doghouse with LeBron. And Stanley looked like he was really in the doghouse with LeBron after one play where he fucked up and they're coming back down the court. You could tell there is a divide. There's a difference between LeBron and the rest of his team. This is that stratification that I talk about, the stratification among the league. In some teams where you have your franchise player, your best player, who's just gets treated like a king compared to everybody else, and everybody's below him. Well, that's part of the problem with the Lakers, is that is just there. And there's different levels. You've got like King James, and then you got Lord Westbrook and Lord Davis and Lord Anthony, and then you got all the serfs that are below them. It's like a fucking feudal system, some shit out there. I don't understand that shit. Fucking bullshit. All right. Anyway, I'm more mad because of the dirty shit right now. That's what I'm really mad about. And it really got me heated too. That that he did that shit. I'm so done with LeBron. I don't understand how people respect him so much in some ways. If you really watch him and understand what he's doing out there and how cheap he's been throughout his career, about how he chased his championships, having to have all these people around him and shit like that, you just understand how much of a loser he is ultimately. That, like, honestly, and with the other stuff, like the other night, getting the 10,000 assists and him going out there and trying to say that he's the greatest player of all time. You're not the fucking greatest player of all time. I've seen you on the court last night, and that was not the greatest player of all time. Because the greatest player of all time would be a better leader and be somebody who got the most out of his teammates and the team that he's on. And you're not doing that. You are not doing that. All right, let's see. Paul B says LeBron is LeDun. I like that. Sue saying, yeah, and LeBron yelling at his own team and angrily bouncing the ball showed what a baby he was. Not cool. He should have got attacked for that double bounce. When he went, bam, 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 he should have got an attack at that moment. He should have probably gotten thrown out when he did the throw at Scotty. Because the first tech should have been when he threw the ball down like that, and the second one should have been the one when he threw it at his midsection. And then he should have been thrown out at that point. If it was other player in the league, that would have happened. And there's the inequality in effect right there. I'm telling you right now. Because those kind of demonstrative, aggressive kind of movements on the court usually get technicals. Whether it's Gary pointing to his arm, that gets a technical. And LeBron double bam, 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 or throwing the ball violently at another player on purpose because he very pinpointed it at him. I know that we're going to say, oh, he's trying to throw it out of bounds off of him. But you know what? The way he threw it, it wouldn't have gone out of bounds. Like he was laying flat on his stomach. He threw it down on him. It would have bounced right back on the court. So there's no logic to what he did in that moment other than I'm trying to hurt Scotty Barnes out of pure frustration like a child lashes out kind of shit. That's what that was. He doesn't set a good example. He doesn't lead by example. When you're on the bench, he's not telling these guys what to do. He's sitting there making a look like he's frustrated with them and pissed off, and he's not even saying anything. He's just sitting there like he's angry. Honestly, I'm so glad we are not Laker fans. I'm so glad that this is not the Laker Freak channel. I'm going to tell you that right now. I am so glad. I wouldn't change anything with things. I wouldn't want their 17 championships to be where they are right now. I'd much rather have our one championship and be where we are right now because we know the ride that's coming up real soon for us is going to be very picturesque, very scenic, and very beautiful. A beautiful, beautiful ride coming up for the Raptors. And the Lakers are riding through pure hell. Oh, yeah, they're in hell. Laker Nation is in hell with what's going on with them right now. They are in hell. I'm sorry, Paul B. You tell your wife I am sorry. But yeah, y'all are in hell if you're going to be rooting for the Lakers also. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Jimmy Pope said Scotty has been getting a lot of that energy from the league's top stars. I really do believe that he wants a checklist. He did what we said last night. He took the ball to LeBron and scored on him. He wants to get that on every single big name in the league. He wants to. He did some of it to Russell too last night, like I thought he would. He was guarding Russell a lot last night, which was very interesting because that means Scotty was playing defensive guard more last night with our other guys kind of staying down low because they were a smaller team with LeBron at center. And Scotty was guarding Russell in transition, which is really hard to do. There's a couple times Russell kind of got away from him and got into the basket and stuff like that. But it really interesting to see who was guarding LeBron last night with OG out also. Like there was a lot of precious on LeBron last night, which was really good. And Thaddeus Young played LeBron very well off the bench also. So those were our two main guys matching up with LeBron. Precious and Thaddeus last night. They did good jobs for the most part. Later in the game, he kind of got off going. But I didn't like that. But Jimmy Pope saying, yeah, Dame, Jokic, LeBron, Luka, Trae Young, every single kind of name in the league. He's been collecting them kind of like a kid collects trading cards. He's collecting each one of these players as we go through the season, and he wants to get a basket on them. He wants to get highlight pictures of him scoring on them. Like, think about the one he did to Kevin Durant earlier this season. He really fucked up Kevin Durant right to his face next to the basket on one play earlier this season. It's that same kind of stuff, man. And I love it because that really shows that he honors the game and that it's kind of like you're king of the mountain. Well, hey, I'm a new contender. I'm coming into the arena and I might knock you off that mountain and be one of those people up there. A lot of people are saying they think Scotty's going to be an all-star next year just because they're seeing him like this. And the Laker announcers, another thing, they said it right away. They said, we haven't seen this rookie. It'll be real nice to see him on the ground. We've heard a lot about him, but we haven't seen him yet. Yeah, these motherfuckers, they should have said way more smart, nice things about the Raptors, but they were eating their tongues. They were trying to say nice things about the Lakers when they could, but they really couldn't. And they still tried to slight us at times, and it was annoying. But they were so beat down, like I said, and it's so pathetic what's going on with the Lakers that it was entertaining to listen to them anyway. It's just they're so beat down. Seymour saying if Scotty got hit in the head while laying down, that would have been a concussion, and the refs would have still kept the bum in the game, and we beat the Lakers and the refs fair and square. Yeah, like that is the one thing Scotty said. He was only worried about him hitting him in the face. And part of that may have been they had a hot night on the town in California that night. He didn't need to have no messed up face. Same with Pascal. He didn't need no elbow to the face just in case he's going out. He wants to hit the clubs. He's going to Viper Room, shit like that. Who knows, man? But yeah, that it was dirty and, it could have been serious. All three of those plays could have been way more serious than they were. LeBron's lucky in a way. Like if he'd actually, I don't want to see these guys' names on the injury list for some fucked up shit a couple days later. Like if I see Pascal or Gary's names on the injury list for Wednesday, I'm gonna be pissed off at LeBron. I'm gonna hate him so much even more because he did have an indirect effect on them. Like they shouldn't be. They should be all right just from seeing them continue in the game and stuff like that. But you never know. Sometimes people get hurt because it's bullshit like that. And he could have really seriously hurt one of our guys last night. That's fucked up. He's such a bitch. Oh my gosh, I hate LeBron so much. So much. Sue saying, I liked how fast our guys were getting it back on offense. We could see how slow the Lakers were. LBJ was not even trying to get back. All of our strengths were real strengths against them. They are weak against offensive rebounders. They're really good at turning the ball over and letting people get steals. They're not good at transition defense. Like these are things that really lead to us being like all around routing them or just dominating them or beating them. If we're going to do this shit to Phoenix and Denver, hell yeah, we're going to do it to the Lakers. So it's like, I kind of worry about Friday just because they have a couple of things from last night that they can look at and maybe try and expand on the court and do better for the game on Friday. But also I'm kind of like, why should I worry about this fucking team? We're going to outwork them and outplay them no matter what, just because they suck. They just suck. They are so bad. I can't believe how bad the Lakers are. Honestly, I hadn't really watched them that much this year. I've seen some of their scores and seen what's been happening, but they're really bad. They're really, really bad. Sue's also saying the Lakers playing very little defense. That is the truth. Andrew's saying, let's go. Lakers are fakers. Yes, Andrew, the Lakers are fakers. They really are fakers. And I want them to continue to be fakers. Please stay there, Russell. Please stay there, Anthony Davis. You guys fuck that team up just as much as LeBron fucks it up trying to be the GM. So y'all just keep on fucking it up. If they ever make some sort of stupid HBO movie series like the one they have going for this Showtime right now, they're going to make such a bad one about your time with the Lakers right now. It's so dysfunctional, so awesome. I love it. Click to EM say, let's go. Thank God that ball did not hit Scotty's face. His head would have hit the floor hard. Yeah. Yeah, it's messed up, man. Maybe it's good that he has thick hair in the back or something like that. Sometimes I'm wondering about that. As a man who shaves his head, maybe I need some hair helmet just to keep a little safety in case I take a spill or something like that. I don't know. Like, I'm just glad it all worked out the way it was. Maybe we were in the jaws of despair almost for a second with possible injuries because of fucking dirty shit that LeBron was doing last night. Oh my gosh. Callie said, I saw Scotty yawning on the sidelines. That was a late game for our guys. Yeah, late for all of us. That's what I'm saying. It's dirty because like they get a time zone kind of like advantage. The DST just happened. This is our first game after the time change and we're supposed to play at 10:30. It really fucks you up. Like all kinds of, I don't even know what time the game really was at last night because wait, it was at 10:30 and it skipped ahead. Then that means it was really at like 9:30 the old time. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I'm not even going to try to. We're just going to say, hey, here's the ball. You guys are jumping. It's time to go. Just go. It doesn't matter if it's fucking 3 a.m. in the morning or whatever it is. They played in Japan for preseason games before. That's such a weird time too. They play at 5 a.m. in the morning, our time and stuff like that. It's crazy. Andrew said LeBronto is dead and the past California era has begun. Yes, Andrew, you saw that too. I don't know if this is true what OG said or not. There's something said yesterday that OG did an interview, and I don't know if it was fake or not, but I think it's true. But it's hard to tell because OG is weird. He can say stuff like this sometimes, but also I thought maybe it was a joke. Basically, an interviewer is interviewing OG about LeBron and playing LeBron as the Raptors and how we've had success against him recently. And basically, OG said Nick Nurse figured him out. Nick Nurse has figured him out, and we have a defensive scheme for LeBron that beats him. So there's no more LeBronto. Now there is past California. That is what OG said. OG made up this word, past California. And I hope this is true that he actually did say this, and this is just not bullshit meme that somebody made and put out there because it's funny. But yeah, if if OG said that, he made up the term past California, I love it. I love it because last night, past California was in effect. It's badass. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great switch on the whole LeBronto bullshit that we had to go through in the 2010s when somebody fucking photoshopped our Toronto sign to say LeBronto. That was some bullshit. He never deserved to own our city, and he did for a while. I have to admit, yes, LeBron owned us in this city for a while in the playoffs in the 2010s. But that's over. You're right. LeBronto is dead, Andrew. And now it is past California. And I really hope OG actually did say that. But I was also worried. It's like, OG, why are you saying that before the game? You're going to give LeBron some sort of locker room fodder, something to put up on the wall and say, there's no more LeBronto? I'll be the judge of that. Well, there is no LeBronto. No more. It never actually existed. Yeah. Jimmy Pope says, remember that Pascal hate midseason? Look at him now, all those fake Raps fans. Man, that Pascal hate wasn't even in midseason. It's been going on pretty much since he's been on the team. I hate to say it. Once again, I'm going to be real with this. Part of the reason why Pascal himself gets unfair hate is partly because of his skin tone. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be real right now. There's studies out there that show different levels of skin tone with different people get more hate and more adversity. And Pascal, being a darker skin tone person, gets more hate, possibly from everybody in different ways. And that's fucked up. And that's part of the problem with racism and identity by skin color and stuff like that. And I hate that. I really do think that that's a factor in Pascal specifically. Not only that, the fact that he is from Cameroon and he is not from this continent, it also factors into what I'm talking about also here. I hate to say it, but I'm just trying to keep it real here. If there's one thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to try and tell the truth and talk about real shit. And that is something that is a factor in the reason why Pascal gets more hate than Fred VanVleet. And I hate to say it, that's just a sad truth about this world in some ways. And maybe when we talk about it in places like this and we put it out in the open and say, well, this is maybe part of what's happening here, maybe it starts to change things. Maybe people start to really reevaluate why maybe they're more hateful towards somebody like Pascal Siakam than they are towards Fred VanVleet, when it's a similar kind of thing. But maybe what the real difference is, maybe it's his appearance, the way he looks. That kind of thing allows other people to feel like they can get away with treating him worse. And I hate that. Well, that's why I want to talk about it and make people more aware of it, because this is part of the way racism is. It has different grades of racism is in this way, that a light-skinned person may not get as much hate as Pascal because of his darker pigment. And I hate to say it, but that's just the goddamn truth. And I hate it so much. All right. Click 2AM saying the way the Lakers play made the Raptors bored. At the same time, a win is a win. Fred got more rest last night as we saw more Delano. After the third quarter, we didn't have to give 100%. Yeah, I mean, let me look at the numbers real quick for minutes. Fred still played 40 minutes last night. I mean, he only had 11 points, but he did play 40 minutes. Our bench wasn't as big last night. We really did rely on our starters a lot. And that's one thing the Lakers announcers kept saying. We have really good balance on our starting lineup. Precious was great in the starting lineup last night. 10 points, 11 rebounds. With 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, just a little bit of everything. He didn't hit any of his threes last night, but that's okay. He was active and really important. And Fred, he didn't shoot well, but he did get 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal, 11 points. He could have done way better, but I think he's still trying to get back to being where he was before he sat out with the knee problems. And really nice, like I said, to see Gary wake up. Because, like I said, I think he was like 1 for 10 at halftime, and he ended up 7 for 19 by the end of the game with 28 points. They didn't shoot super great at the free throw line last night like they had been, but it didn't matter in this game, and that's really good. All right, let's keep going. They didn't have to try as hard, and that's part of the reason why the Lakers came back at the end of the game and made the game a lot closer by the end. Is that we let off the gas. We didn't do the normal thing we do in the fourth quarter. I was actually hoping we would. Like, just keep shutting them down and just really humiliate them. But we didn't. We kind of let them back in. Seymour Pape saying, pass California, pass California, pass California. You say it 3 times and it happens just like Beetlejuice. Oh, yeah. Race Mode Daily, good to see you, my friend. I woke up at 4 a.m. to catch the score. I'm watching the game later tonight. Raptors 64 rebounds is nuts. Yeah, that's a stat that Chev loves to push on his channel. NBA Chev will say if the Raptors can average this many rebounds per game, they're going to win a lot of games. So he's always looking at that rebound number. When he sees a good high rebound, I think his number was like close to 50. I was thinking it was like 48 or something. If Raptors get 48 rebounds, they'll win for sure, or something like that. Well, they get 64 rebounds. Hell yeah, they're going to win. I mean, let's look at the team stats. In some ways, we really dominated them. Once again, like we got 96 shots and they got 87. So we got 11 more field goals attempted than them, and we outshot them 40% to 39%. Not much of a big difference. They did beat us at 3-point land. We won at the free throw line. We got more free throws, but we missed more. We did way out rebound them. We out rebounded them by 21, 64 to 43. That's insane. 19 offensive rebounds. Frank Vogel was saying before the game that he really wanted to try and limit us on the offensive boards, and they did not. They failed. They failed at that. And now Stephen A. Smith is telling everybody that you need to go, Frank Vogel, that you need to be fired. But you know what? That won't happen because he is LeBron's puppet and he can control him. And that is why he follows him around when he goes from place to place, Frank Vogel. Yeah, and we beat them in assists, which is really good. We really killed them on hustle stats with 8 steals, 9 blocks. We had the same amount of turnovers, fast break points. We beat them by 1. But then the paint, we absolutely dominated them, 54 to 36. Really good stuff. We had a 28-point lead at one point last night. So good. Click 2 a.m. saying Raptors get extra rest. No need to travel. We play Clippers tomorrow. Yeah, that's a give and take. I'd actually almost rather we played the Clippers tonight. Like, make it a back-to-back. Get them right out of the way, and then travel back to Toronto tonight after the game so we get more time to adjust to the time change, because we have to wait till tomorrow and play. And think about this. If they play at 10:30 Eastern time tomorrow night. We get done around 1 a.m. We get on a plane. Then we have to fly back. You basically get Thursday to try and orient your body back to Eastern Standard Toronto time. And then you have to play a game the next night on Friday night. That sucks. That's really hard to deal with, that kind of jet lag that quickly. And that's why I'm saying maybe if the Clippers game had been tonight, that would have been better. That we play them back to back and get on the road quicker to get back home to adjust for Friday. But it is what it is. They'll do it the way that they've set it all out for them. And we'll take advantage of the extra day off today in California without having to travel. Yes. So we got to just take the advantages as they come, even though this is a big disadvantage. And not only that, this is one of those things that Monique always talks about. The game after the road trip at home is always sometimes a dog. So it's kind of like they're setting up the Lakers in a couple different ways to try and help them be able to beat us on Friday. Like way ahead, that's planned with the schedule, that they know that this is going to be helping them have an advantage when they write the schedule. They know that when they look at it. So, yeah, let's keep going. Banana Bread Tan, second best road record in the East. That's a great stat. I didn't know that about us. Things are still going to be shook up in the East. There's things that are going to be happening. Boston loses some, Cleveland, we're getting close. We just want to get that 6th seed, get out of the play-in, and we'll be badasses. We will be badass. Click 2 a.m. I expect Fred to play better tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully he continues to just rest with off days. We don't have any back-to-backs soon. So that's good. They get an actual good rhythm of rest between games instead of having to do these 2 nights in a row kind of things. So Seymour saying Scotty looked cool in the post-game interview. Yeah, didn't he? He had these like gloves on. He's like, he also wore like a mask, a hood, like a hood over his head while he's walking around in LA right now and stuff like that. These guys are badasses, honestly. Like they're rock stars. Like these dudes live like the Drake life. These guys are like, they're living like the weekend and stuff like that. This is their world, man. And it must be a lot of fun to be in LA. I hope that they're really smart about their time and doing things that are productive and fun that aren't taken away from them. Like I worry that like they may go out and get drunk like while they're in LA and stuff like that. I don't want them to do that. I don't know how many of them actually drink, but that used to be very common in the NBA. Like Charles Barkley was getting drunk after games left and right. There's probably are a lot of players that still do a lot of drinking during the season. Like Vin Baker was an alcoholic while he was playing. And, Cleon Clark, we talked about that. So I wonder about how much partying actually goes on with the Raptors, with them being so young, some of them, and like how they balance that. And I think that they're real pros just because of the way we see things go on the court. But I always have that in the back of my mind, especially with like last night, because they were all dressed up real nice. And somebody on Twitter was making a joke. Well, this looks like they're going to have a night out in the town because they got the day off tomorrow. And that's probably fine. They need rest. They need their own time as people and to do things and experience things. You're going to go all the way the fuck to LA and be in LA. You might as well experience it and know a little bit about it instead of sit in your hotel room the whole night. I get it. And especially since the pandemic's just starting to open up again. So this actually you can go do shit once again. So I worry about that to a degree to see how much like what they're going to do while they're out. I think they'll be fine. But if they come out flat against the Clippers, I'll be worried. I'll be like, well, what the fuck were they doing the last couple nights? That kind of thing. Andrew says the Lakers are such a lazy team. They put the la in lazy. Oh boy, they thought they could coast through the game and try and steal it with some cheese at the end, but even the refs couldn't help. They did try and help them too. It was too little, too late. It wasn't enough. And to be honest, if we really needed to, we could hit the gas or just clamp down at any time that we wanted to. Like it was really getting really serious. Nick Nurse would call a timeout and say, you guys play the defense that you guys played against Denver in the fourth quarter the other night, where they only scored 10 points for like the whole fourth quarter, pretty much. Do that. Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll win. It's that we had 2 ways we could have won the game last night. Either we clamped them down completely at the end, or we outscore them, keep scoring. And that's what we did last night. We kept scoring. We didn't play as hard on defense, but we kept putting points on the board, so they just couldn't catch up. And that was really good. And yes, they are a lazy team, and they're lazy in all kinds of different ways. You see it. And we're the opposite. Like that's one of the things that he hated about Scotty was he's not used to somebody full court pressing that's 6'7", 6'8", that's all up in their face. Like the Lakers don't want people annoying them like that. And the way the Raptors play defense is really annoying. And it frustrated the fuck out of them. All of them. Russell was getting frustrated. LeBron was definitely getting frustrated. It was great. Andrew saying Frank Vogel. Okay, all right. I got to catch up. You guys got a lot on here. This is gonna be good. Frank Vogel. Wow. All right. I really got to catch up. I like this. Excuse me. Jeez. I got to. Okay. Frank Vogel and the refs were extending the game, trying to make it less of a blowout, probably trying to protect his job and the Lakers' reputation. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that was a fluke, actually, that they got back into the game. I didn't think that they did a whole lot. I think that we let off the gas a little bit. We kind of were lackadaisical ourselves. We were like, felt pretty good. And then they saw some opportunities and they did make a couple of gains and got back into it. But really, in reality, they weren't actually a threat to beat us, that we could just like, it just takes Fred saying, all right, guys, let's get serious and quit fucking around. Just because they're fucking around, we can fuck around a little bit. We've got to lead, but we need to get serious and make sure we take this home and that kind of thing. So, yeah, Frank Vogel is protected as long as LeBron loves him. I don't think that they'll fire him if LeBron's saying, I want this to be my coach. And he doesn't want anybody else to come coach them. Trust me, seriously, because when he brings in a good coach, a coach like Nick Nurse or Eric Spoelstra, they butt heads. He doesn't want that kind of coach. He wants a pansy, somebody who can do the job figuratively, but he controls them. And that's the thing. Frank Vogel is controlled by LeBron, and that's what's going to keep him his job, is that LeBron will protect him because he does exactly what LeBron wants him to do. He's just a puppet. So that's part of it. Summer Low on point with this. LBJ is so rude. He really is. Like, he may be a nice guy off the court. He may do some really amazing philanthropic things with schooling and different things, charities and things like that. He may be a role model to kids in certain ways that you want to be. But is he really a good role model? No, he isn't in some ways. And that last night, if I had children, I wouldn't tell them to be like LeBron. I said, don't be like LeBron, please. Please don't be like LeBron. Be like Michael, but don't be like LeBron. Be like Kobe, but don't be like LeBron. G said the media justified Gary's Playboy, saying Gary grabbed his shorts. So anytime someone grabs, they're allowed to push them down. Okay. Oh, he said, I thought, was Gary in Playboy? Oh, okay. The play with Gary was justified. Yeah, that's what the Laker announcers were trying to say too, that he fouled him or he got under him. And that's what LeBron kept motioning. He was under me. He was under me. It was like, yeah, but if you look at the replay, LeBron, you're forcing your body. I watch wrestling, so I know when guys are doing stuff and when they're not, when they're being light and when they're not. And you weren't being light. You put force with your hands down into his back, and he was horizontal with the floor, and you pushed him into it. That's basically like a sidewalk slam, big boss man slam kind of thing from Ray Traylor doing something like that. That's what you're doing, and it's a hard court. So you're throwing these guys, they're going to have bruises from what you did to them last night. Whether he's got a bruise from the ball, I don't know what happened with Pascal's chin or his nose with that elbow. It's shit like that. It really is bad. They protect him because they need him in the game. And I said, but what if his team is shit? What if he's playing like shit? Stop protecting him. Let us see that you can treat him equally in this league. Andrew saying, yeah, Gary has good restraint, but he lets the other team know that he isn't going anywhere. Yeah, he doesn't back down, but he doesn't cross the line. And that's really good. That's a really tough line to walk across. That's that Johnny Cash. I walked the line. You cannot jump over and lose your cool and swing a punch. You cannot say certain things. So you really got to know the certain line that you can cross and you can't cross and just walk along it. And I think he's really good in it, in the situations with Westbrook and that bullshit with LeBron. Jimmy's saying, how about that elbow on Pascal that ended up being a foul on Pascal? Yeah, if he had hurt him in any kind of way, if we had seen any chiclets flying and from that one, if we had seen Pascal blood on the poop puddling on the court and him laying there in a heap after that play, yeah, there would have been hell to pay. There would have been a lot of bullshit. Like, people would have been pissed off. And it would have made LeBron look so bad. Like, he needs to watch out, because if he does something like that, he'll look really goonish and really bad for doing something like that. Petty, a bad loser. because it's that late in the game. They know they lost, and he's going to take a cheap shot like that and try and take out our franchise money man, the $30 million bag man, out at the end of the game like that. Fuck you, LeBron, for that kind of petty bullshit. That's very dangerous what you did. And this is why I'm saying you're not a role model for children. Okay, let's keep going. G said, we need Gary Sr. in his fur at the next Lakers game. We do need, I think we need Gary Sr. at games in his fur just to be kind of like, yeah, you gonna try my son, motherfucker? Like, I'm the Shaq of the Mac. I'm a 6'8", 260-pound player from the past, and I will fuck you up just like I used to fuck rims up like Shaq did. Because they called him the Shaq of the Mac because he would break rims just like Shaq used to. So yeah, Gary Trent's got some muscle, Gary Trent Sr., and it'd be great to have him around just like a John Attilia. Like John Attilia, get this guy signed on and get him paid by MLSE for security, and have Gary Trent Sr. run around with the team with John Attilia as a security guy. That'd be hilarious. That'd be great. But the problem with that is Gary Trent Sr. is raising these kids in Minnesota. So he has to be back at home with these kids, raising these kids. So he can't travel with Gary all the time and be around all the time. That's part of it right there. Seymour Pape saying, Americans look down at Canadians even after a loss. Look at the attitudes and how they carry themselves. I don't know. Listen, they're going to do this until we fucking just win a championship, and they have to fucking shine a light and say good things about us. And even then they won't. They'll discount it. That's just what we're against. And that's why we have to celebrate our own wins and celebrate our own great things like last night, because they won't give us a shine. They won't give us a fair, respect or credit. It's fine. We can't do that. This is part of another lesson in life, is that you can't do things to impress other people and hope that they can build you up by them saying, acknowledging it. You got to do it yourself and get your own feeling of good worth out of it. And the kudos will come, the flowers will come from the people that matter. And the people that don't, they aren't the people that matter anyway. And that's what I'm saying right here, is like, these are all great life lessons for us in our own lives. Is that, you may want that promotion from your boss, or you may want credit from your boss, and they may not give it to you. And it's unfair. And this is a similar kind of thing. And this is how you act and deal with it. Is like, do you put your head down and you keep working, or do you stand up for yourself? Or do you do something even better and greater so that they have to give you credit or make you seem like what you did and accomplish? You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. And it's not even the Americans. Like, listen, I want to say something about last night that was fantastic. That was absolutely beautiful and joyous as a Raptor fan. Is at the end of the game, did you hear the Raptor fans in that building saying, "Let's go Raptors"? At every quiet moment in that building, our Raptor contingency of fans that were in the crypto crypt were in there fucking going, "Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors." And you could hear them. And the other announcers were like, "Well, it seems like the Raptors have some fans here in Los Angeles. Well, if you win a championship, you start to get fans all over the place." Well, I'm going to tell you all this right now. Canadians are all over the fucking place. And not only that, we do have American fans that do respect and love the style of basketball that we play. They're like Chev. They see what we're doing. They know we're a good team, and they respect it, and they want to get on board. And then you also got a lot of transplants. You got snowbirds. You got people that are from Canada. They're Canadians that work in Hollywood. They fly to LA and they start working in TV and movies there because they were here in Toronto before. So you got a lot of Torontonians in LA that were in that game last night. Real ones, people that are Canadians. Same thing happens in Florida. It happens in every arena. There's going to be some Canadians there that are going to be wearing Raptors gear, and they're going to be getting loud for us. And I loved hearing that at the end of the game. Let's go Raptors. And the Laker fans started trying to boo us out and stuff like that, or boos. I hope they were booing their own team, because they can't boo us because we beat your ass. And if you're booing the other fans for being loud, so what? We still got that fucking "Let's go Raptors" chant in your own building, making it look like the Palace of Auburn Hills with Detroit, where we have home court advantage number 2 in Detroit. When the borders open and we travel, oh yeah, that's our building too, y'all. That's right. And we can take over a building in any part of the NBA at any time. It's evident from last night. Oh yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Andrew is saying LeBron may not have gotten penalized on the court for his behavior, put his reputation, took another hit. We basically put the nail in the coffin of the season. Yeah, I mean, listen, they're gonna try and sneak in the play, and they're gonna try and do. Those announcers are trying to make up all kinds of bullshit about how the Lakers could still do great things in the playoffs and stuff. Like, you're fucking dreaming, man. Like, you're up a creek with no power and not even the map on how to get back, and it's only a river. You can go one or two ways, and you still can't figure out how to get back. That's how fucked up y'all are. So yeah. I don't know if we specifically put the nail in their coffin for their season, but we beat them again on Friday. We're definitely helping it. Oh yeah, we're definitely helping it. And like I said earlier, I'd love to see San Antonio rise up real quick and jump into that plane and take the Lakers spot and put them outright out of the playoffs. Straight out, though. Straight out. Put them right out. Tom Duke says Worthy does a post-game talk show. Okay, so James Worthy was on in the post-game afterwards. I didn't stick around to see that. I love James. I have so much respect for James Worthy. There's some Lakers and some teams that I really liked. I like the 80s Showtime Lakers. I'm a big fan of Magic Johnson, and I like James. I think James is somebody that is unstated and celebrated in the NBA that he really should be more so in some ways. But yeah, he's biased. Obviously, he's super biased for the Lakers, and once again, he's probably got that kind of blind spot to the Raptors that most NBA people do. Is that he doesn't understand them. He's probably just saw them for the first time last night, and I don't know what he said specifically. But if I heard what he said specifically, then I could probably tell you why he said it that way. G said, "Man, children thinking they are role models." Yes, yes. There's something about an arrested development with LeBron and with Russell. That, like I said, I keep making this comparison in the last week. Russell Westbrook and DeJounte Murray. You have DeJounte Murray for San Antonio. Such a more classy pro in so many different more ways than Russell. And he's like 10, 12 years less experience in the NBA than him. And it kind of makes me feel good about the future that maybe it was just this bullshit generation from 2000 to 2020 of these egomaniac, eccentric guys who want to be super friends and be on the same teams together and fucking were told that they're so great and anointed talent and all this shit, and that they get so big out of their heads and they just become pieces of shit in some ways as just people. And that these young guys like Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent and people like that, they're doing it right. Like Cade Cunningham, even like people on other teams are doing it right. And I have hope for the next generation that maybe they'll be more like Giannis and less like LeBron. Maybe they'll be more like Kobe and less like Russell, because these guys are horrible role models. And we don't need these kind of prima donnas in the league. You build them up by saying, "Oh, you're so great," and that's part of this golden boy system, like Ben Simmons, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, golden boy system in the NBA, where you treat these guys better than the rest of the league and they get heirs to them. And that's the kind of shit that's happening here. Oh yeah. Tom Duke saying the LA feed. Yeah, yeah. I didn't stick around to see James. James Worthy, Robert Ory covered a follow-up on the game, and James was talking down. You know what? He's going to do that. They're trying to make themselves feel better. They know that they're in a house on fire, and they see something going on. We have really good things going. Like, I keep hearing more and more bullshit about other teams. Like, did you know that Blake Griffin is very unhappy on the Nets right now? That he's going on social media and talking about how Steve Nash won't play him. We don't have that kind of dysfunction. That's pretty good. There's all kinds of bullshit happening underlying with different teams. We don't have that. Other teams want that. It's like we have a hot partner. Like, our partner is super attractive and smart and going places, and everybody's like, wow, I wish I could be with them, but we're with them. And that's why they're jealous. Their partner's ugly, or maybe has some problems, or like it's dragging them down by taking their money, or just hateful to them and stuff like that. That's their kind of issues and their situations with their franchises. And we're like with the really hot partner that's very attractive and cool and everybody wants, on the secret, on the down low. So it's that kind of shit that's going on. It's just saltiness. It's like it's an extension of LeBron's saltiness. It's an extension of any Laker fan's saltiness is James Worthy. And if he didn't do that kind of thing in the post game, the Laker fans would be mad. They would be like, "Oh, James is a sellout. He's picking the Raptors over us." So in some ways, that's part of why he's doing it, is because he has to do his sports broadcast to cater to their fans. And that's why I want our Raptors people to do the same damn shit, because every single team in this league has homer analysts, has analysts that talk about things and spin things for the favor of the team that they cover. And that's why I hate it when Paul Jones and Leo Routins are so down on our team sometimes, because you don't need to do that. Other teams will kick our team down for us. We need to see the bright spot and build us up even in the darkest times, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And let's see. Click2M said, yeah, I heard that too. They said the Raptors aren't that great because we're in the play-in, yet the NBA projected us to be trash. Yeah, see that there's there's an incongruency in what we just said right there. Like, they're not that great because they're in the play-in, but they were projected to be worse than this. Like, you're not making sense. Like, you can't have it both ways. Either you say we overachieved and we're way better than we're supposed to, or we should have done better and we're not as good. You can't say both. You know that you can't do that. Your logic in that is fucked up, and it's just to discredit. That's all it is. Clicks also saying the Lakers announcers were dead beat yesterday. A lot of awkward, silent moments because their team plays like trash. Yeah, I listened to them. It's the same. Yeah, totally. But they've been like that. They've had to do that every game. You can tell when they start the game, they can't be overly confident. They can't be like, it's Lakers show. It's the Lake show. LeBron, everybody, the power of LeBron coming on. They can't even fucking be like that. They can't have that bravado because they know that when the team comes out there, they may get blown out in the first 20 by 20 points in the first 5 minutes of the game, like they did against us, like they did against Phoenix. You know, they know that that's going to happen. So they can't have that normal bravado. Just imagine if they were slightly better and they weren't, but like they were maybe like where we are, or maybe in the sixth spot. Just imagine how much more cocky these assholes would be. But because they're beaten down and been through a lot of shitty games and looked horrible, they can't do that. So it's hilarious. That's why it's kind of fun to listening to them last night, to hear the sadness in the pauses, in the silence of their call last night. Oh, yeah. Click to I'm saying, I hope we blow them out in Toronto. I hope our fan base destroys their team. I hope we give it to LeBron. I really do. If anybody's going to the game on Friday night, let's give it to LeBron like we gave it to Goran. Because I know that a lot of y'all are going to come there and be his fans and cheer him. You fucking dumbasses. Go there and fucking boo him. Because you need to understand how much he could have hurt our team last night with his petty shit. That he could have put Pascal out for the rest of the season, that he could have put Gary Trent Jr. out for a week or two, that he could have fucking did something worse to Scotty, like put him on concussion protocol. So Raptor fans, think about that. This dude is not your friend. You may look up to him. You may have rooted for him because he was the best player, and it's so easy to root for the best guy because everything comes easy to him. But fuck you for taking the easy route. Root for the team that's the underdog. The Raptors have been the underdog the whole time. And be true to your team. LeBron is not on our side. LeBron is the enemy. He always has been. He treats us like the enemy, and he has no respect for us. And that's why we need to fuck him up every time we play him. And that's why y'all need to come correct on Friday night and really let him hear it. I don't want to hear y'all cheering him. I want y'all to boo the fuck out of him on Friday night. If you can, please. Give him the same treatment that Goran got a couple weeks ago when I was at that game. Do the same fucking shit because it will help. It will really fuck them up. He's a sensitive guy. After all these years, he's still really sensitive to how people think about him, obviously, because he's so building so much time and taking so much time and effort to try and build up his story of who he is himself. He shouldn't have to do that. He cares too much. So we need to make him hurt from our boos. Oh, yeah, we do. Tom Duke's saying they were all shell-shocked. Scotty, boom. Scotty came out there and boom them. Boom, 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 boom. That's what they were saying. The Lakers announcers saying Scotty Barnes is dominating us down low right now. And he really was. He could do whatever he fucking wanted. He started 7 for 7 from the field. He hit all of his shots right away. Like, he was really doing really good. Like right away. Click 2am said, by the way, Raptors chance in the fourth quarter. Amazing. Yes, it was so good. We the globe. We are everywhere, motherfucker. We are in Jakarta. We are in Zimbabwe. We are in Australia. We are in all the countries of the world, every state in the US, and we will be heard. If you will have us in your arena, every single game we go to, there are Raptor fans in that building. And if we get a chance to be loud in that building and take your building for We the North, we will. We will. Oh, yeah, we will. We are imperialists in the NBA. We are going and taking your land. We are annexing part of your court, and you cannot come in here anymore because our defense said so. Oh, yeah, that's what we're saying. Banana Bread 10 said, bro, the refs called a foul on Siakam on that play. That's so crazy. That's right. You're right. That elbow that LeBron hit him with was actually a foul on Pascal. And part of it was because he hit him with he had his hand on him or something. Maybe he did a little bit of hand check. But still, come on, refs. That is fucked up. You're exactly right. I'm trying to forget that because I don't want to remember how biased and how fucked up they are. Banana Bread 10 said, how is Siakam getting called for the foul when he's taking an elbow? I don't know either. I don't know either. And if they really wanted to go back and review it, maybe they should have given a foul, a flagrant foul to LeBron, and we would have gotten 2 free throws in the ball on the side. And that may have been the right call in that situation if they actually went back and looked at it. But these motherfuckers, when we did have a challenge late in the game, when Frank Vogel was petty and he made that one challenge on that one foul, he got unsuccessful pretty quick because the refs were like, we want to get the fuck out of here. And you're calling a fucking challenge. You're not going to win this game. You're wrong. You are unsuccessful. You do not win this challenge. We're keeping on playing this game to get the fuck out of here. And that's what happened at the end of the game. It was crazy. The family said reason he didn't do media is because he would have had to answer all 4 of those dirty plays. I stopped my son from watching the game at the end. I know he should have been up, but he loves Raptors. Well, it was late too. I understand. But I don't know if it was a factor with what was happening with the play on the court. Stuff like these are learning situations. The family, this is a great opportunity for you to show you do not play like that. You do not do things like that. Like that is an episode of somebody completely losing their temper and doing dirty shit to people. And that's a great opportunity to teach young people how not to be or to keep themselves under control. And that's what LeBron wasn't doing. Like, how many years have you been in the league? You can't control yourself like that. And obviously you have something with the Raptors because listen, this is like Lakers Celtics animosity that LeBron has towards us. Obviously, the way he had so many plays and just the viciousness of the motions and how he did them, it's like this guy has deep-seated animosity towards us for some reason. And maybe it's because we've been beating his ass since he went out west and he was used to beating us so good over here. I don't know what it is, man. I hope that Kyle and DeMar are living in his head rent free because maybe Kyle said some shit to him last year when we beat him the last time Kyle played for the Raptors. I don't know. But yeah, that's too bad. It was a late game. I mean, it was way after midnight when the game ended and stuff like that. So I understand, but it was fun. I'm sure you guys had a good time watching most of the game. Jimmy Pope said the U.S. media was trying to spin that place, trying to say it was a great play. He was angry and he threw it extra hard at Scotty's face, deserved the tech, totally unnecessary. They're trying to say it was a great play, but really, if it was a great play, he would have just taken the ball and gotten his balance and dribbled up the court with it. Like he didn't seem like he was falling out of bounds that much. It looked like he just wanted to sling the ball at Scotty. Is basically what he wanted to do. He just had frustration. Like it really is telling that he threw the ball at Scotty instead of throwing it to his teammate who was over there. He could have taken the ball and thrown it back in bounds and they may have gotten a score. But instead, he decided he wanted to be petty and lose his temper in the moment. That's very calculated. He could have thrown it anywhere. He's LeBron James. It's not like he's making a mistake by accident. He did everything on purpose. He did exactly what he wanted to do with the ball in that moment on purpose. And if the NBA media in the U.S. wants to say he's a genius, he's a genius. Well, you're celebrating a psychopath. Is basically what you're doing in that situation at that point. Yeah, it was messed up. Let's see. Seymour saying Melo took a 3 and nobody touched him. Clear as day. Foul on Raptors. Poor reffing at his finest. Well, once again, we can beat the Lakers by themselves, but it looks like we can beat the Lakers even if they have the refs on their side too. And I know the refs were a little petty, basically overlooking the shit that LeBron was doing was pissing me off the most. The rest of it wasn't too bad. We were getting foul calls okay here and there. And I love that they took that 3 away from Carmelo. And then his feet were behind the line. He should have gotten a 3. It was kind of a weird way he jumped and landed. It kind of made it look like he was past the line and it should have been a 2. But they really went back and forth with that, whether it was a 3 and then they put it back to a 2. But then they went back and looked at it again and it was a 3. That was pretty funny that they were jerking him around like that. But I like that their first inclination was to rob him of one of the points and say it was only a 2. I was like, yeah, that's right. And then when they showed the replay, it's like, actually, it is a 3. And then they had to switch it back. But it is what it is. Click to him saying, and then the play with Gary. Gary was being held by LeBron, so Gary pulled his shorts, and then Gary gets thrown to the ground like it's WWE. Yeah, that was messed up. Like that one could have been the most serious one because Gary can't protect himself in the air, and he's coming straight down on his elbow or on his back in a certain way. It could have been really bad. And hopefully we won't, like I said, I don't want to see any of these guys on the injury report for the next couple of days because of some bullshit that LeBron did to them dirty last night. Click to him said, LeBron has always been on winning teams. He doesn't know how to deal with losing seasons because he never experienced it. Fortunately, there's a first time for everything. Man, this guy's been on losing teams. Let's get it. Don't get it twisted. He's been on losing teams. He doesn't like it, obviously. He acts like a big bitch when he's on a losing team, but he's been on losing teams. The years in Cleveland were really hard early on for him. And, he's had losing seasons in the Lakers, a couple of them already. Like last year wasn't a good year for him either. So, that's just how it is. He should get used to it. I think it's really interesting that he said he would play with Bronny when he gets drafted. And what they're speculating at this point is that Bronny will get drafted by the Sacramento Kings. And that would be very interesting if LeBron sticks to what he said as far as wanting to play with his son at the end of his career and going to the Kings. Would that be interesting? If he doesn't like losing on the Lakers, he's not going to like losing on the Kings because if he goes to the Kings, he's going to lose. He's got to know that. And that's the other thing that's stupid is like you want to go play with your son no matter where he is. Well, you're going to be on a losing team wherever you go with your son. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I honestly don't see LeBron winning another championship before the end of his career. I seriously don't, y'all. Like there's a lot of different things that would have to happen good for him. The window in LA is closing and he's got albatrosses around his neck. It might as well be two big, huge gold chains that just drag him to the ground named Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis, because both of them take away from his ability and the Lakers' ability to change as a franchise with their money and their personnel really hard. Like these guys have weighed him down. No, there's no way they can move either one of them. So he's stuck with them and the clock is ticking. His career is going to be over. So it's basically kind of like you're going to have to leave the Lakers. You cannot finish your career with the Lakers. You already said you go play with Bronny. So go play with Bronny and be on the Kings and be on a shitty team and lose even more. Like, I'm serious. LeBron's not going to get another championship. He's not. From what I seen last night, the Lakers are nowhere near it. I don't see how they could develop that team into a champion within the next 5 years. There's no fucking way they can do it. I'm sorry. You can't just throw all these old Hall of Fame, old ass guys together and think you're going to win. You can't do that anymore. It's not how it works. Okay, let's see. Tom Duke said Brady said LeBron helped convince him to keep playing and not retire. Oh my gosh, LeBron's just causing problems everywhere. Brady, you should have retired, man. Like, listen, dude, you should have retired after you won that last Super Bowl. You shouldn't have played last year, honestly, if you ask me, because your legacy was really set up good after winning it in Tampa and just doing that go off in the sunset. You're going to keep playing whatever. I don't fucking give a shit anyway. I don't follow the NFL anymore. I have been boycotting the NFL ever since they blackballed Colin Kaepernick and said that he couldn't play. I know he wasn't that good and all these other things, but still, it's the principle. The NFL is fascist. I have no team that I love like the Raptors in the NFL, so I'm easily will walk away from the NFL. That I used to play heavy fantasy sports in the NFL. I was really good at fantasy football. I used to win championships every year, really up to date with all the players, everything going on, analyzing all the stats, changing my lineups, doing badass shit and winning fantasy football championship left and right. I stopped playing when they blackballed him. I haven't watched an NFL game in 5 years. Yeah, I have stayed away from them on principle. And, Tom Brady is a great pro. He may be one of the greatest NFL players ever, but I think it's a mistake he's coming back. And, I love Tampa. Listen, Tampa Bay, if I do have an NFL team, it's probably Tampa Bay just because it's connection to Tallahassee. We have a lot of FSU players that went and played in Tampa Bay, like Derek Brooks and Warwick Dunn. But I still fuck Tom Brady, honestly, in some ways also, because in some ways he's kind of a piece of shit in some ways also. Like, I respect him and he's probably the GOAT as far as NFL quarterbacks in some ways, but also in some ways he has issues with him and his personality that are similar to LeBron. But that's funny that you think that LeBron actually he told him to not retire. That's crazy. He shouldn't listen to LeBron. That's what I'm going to say. Seymour Pape saying elbow war. Who wins, LeBron or Karl Malone? Man, you know LeBron's not going to win that one. Karl Malone, for some reason, I'm going to get real funny right here. He has elbows that have razors imprinted them or something. Like you look at the bones of Karl Malone's elbows and they're jagged, like they're sharp. Like they could jab you and stuff like that. Like I've seen many people have that little Fred VanVleet bloodstream coming down the side of their head because Karl Malone just swung around like this and fucking nailed the guy right in the head. So I'm going to pick Karl Malone on this because he's the all-time great with these flying elbows. I'm not going to lie. Karl Malone's elbows were bad as fuck, and he went to bash at the beach and teamed up with Diamond Dallas Page and took on Rodzilla and Hollywood Hogan, and he put those elbows to use in the wrestling ring also. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I would pick Malone in that one. LeBron, he's not going to win that one because Karl Malone, in some ways, he's more of an asshole. And if you're going to go by asshole factor, Karl Malone will hit you with an elbow, and he will, without impunity, with no remorse, he will nail you, and he will keep going, and he'll act like it was just part of his game because it was. Him and Stockton were two of the dirtiest players to play in the NBA. I'm not going to lie right now. Oh, yeah, they were. The family said, so he needed to throw the ball at 300 miles per hour as hard as – yeah, he didn't need to throw it that hard. It's like you can see it in his motion. You can see it how hard he threw it, like just in his face, how it – you could see the frustration in his face when he did it. Like, that's so implicated. These referees are fucking blind of LeBron and what he was doing out there last night. And they're, once again, it's because it's the Raptors. Well, he should be able to get away with it. They're the Canadian team. You know, what if that was the Celtics? If he had been playing the Celtics last night and he threw the ball at Jason Tatum like that, maybe they would have called it. Because it's like Celtic fans would get pissed off and up in arms today like we are. But they have more clout. They have more of a hotline to the NBA head office, and they have more of a history. So maybe they would have gotten the call. The Celtics would have got that call, but maybe we don't just because we're the Raptors. That's what I'm saying about inequality in the NBA. We got to look at these things and really think about it. Is that's the equal treatment that we get compared to other teams in these situations? I think that if it had been Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum that got that ball thrown at their midsection, that LeBron might have gotten a call on him. Oh, yeah. Let's see what else is saying. The family is saying he's soft. That's a person who is a privileged his whole life. He's never been told no and shows it when he can't control something on the court. Yes, this is so true. They really kind of made a monster the way they groomed LeBron from an early age and told him how great he was. I mean, he was hearing this as an elementary school kid. He had this destiny, this path of destiny. In some ways, it's very impressive that he didn't falter, that he showed up to the promise and he made it through this whole gauntlet. I have to give him credit for that. But also in some ways, it built this monster. It built this egomaniac. It built this thing that you're saying, that somebody who's never had somebody tell them no. And then when they do say no, or the game says no to him, or the Raptors say no to him, he hits out like a child. And that is some sort of arrested development with maturity. That has something to do with maturity. And him and Russell both have it. Russell has it in a different way in some ways, and LeBron has it also. And that's why, like, you don't want these kind of vets rubbing off on your young players because they give them those kind of like arrogance and bad habits. You want vets like Fred and Pascal that are showing them how to win, showing them how to train, showing them how to be a pro day in, day out by what you eat, how you sleep, how you prep, how you play, how you do your life outside. Whereas like Philadelphia, they have young players that are learning from James Harden how to get to the strip club fastest from the game after the game. And that's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Andrew saying Lakers hell equals they have to play the first quarter over and over again. Yes. Yes. I think that it's just Lakers hell in general. Seriously. Like if you went and talked to Magic Johnson about the state of the Lakers right now, he'd tell you it's hell. It's hell right now. Because there's infighting, there's all kinds of crazy problems, you know, with the GM and LeBron and Jeannie Buss, and just it's just a fucking mess. It's a mess. It's like they don't know what the fuck they're doing there. They're hamstrung with their salaries and their stupid shit that they've done with deals like getting Russell and getting Anthony Davis. They thought that that was the way to go, and now they realize they put so many eggs in the baskets with these big names at the top, and they're fucking losers, and they come in and they don't fit and they don't work and nobody wants to do any of the work, and they can't get any quality guys otherwise. And any of the quality guys that they did have from the championship year recently in the bubble, they're all fucking gone. And it's just LeBron with a couple of old ass Hall of Famers and some young guys that don't know shit about what they're doing. So it is what it is. G saying, good point. Throwing the ball down on Scotty is not a natural trajectory to get the ball out of bounds. It isn't. It wasn't in any kind of way. Because first, Scotty was like, his head was out of bounds and his body was in bounds. Where he threw the ball down at him was actually in bounds. So it's like, excuse me. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason, or kind of like they can try and like say what it was, like the US media and what they're saying. Oh, it was a smart play, brilliant veteran play. But we know what the fuck that was. You can look at it and you see it. Excuse me. Marlon Toby saying, shaking my motherfucking head. LeBron throwing tantrums, trying to injure our players. Oh, well, we won. I remember when OG bodied Dennis Schroeder last season when he was with the Lakers. Yeah, that takedown, that body slam. Basically, he picked him up by his leg, and he was like, it's like Hulk Hogan trying to pick up Andre the Giant. It was a lot easier than that. Honestly, it looked like OG could pick him up like it was nothing. Like he was a really light guy, Schroeder. But yeah, he slammed him good in that play. And that was a little dirty. Yeah, I will admit that was a little bit dirty. He turned him right upside down on his head. And that could have been very dangerous for Schroeder. I didn't exactly endorse that play by OG at that time, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. It's a little bit of get back in a get back way. But yeah, LeBron was I don't know if he's intentionally trying to injure our guys, but the behavior is very dangerous for injuring our guys by doing stupid shit like that. It's just like you lose your temper and you do something dumb that you regret later. Like if he had hurt one of these guys, that would have been really bad. Like it would have been kind of dumb for LeBron to throw Gary Trent Jr. down to the court and hurt him and put him out for the rest of the season or mess him up. Like if he gave him like a bad career injury, that's stupid because Gary Trent Jr. is a client of Clutch Sports and he's one of his clients. It's almost like you're going to fucking hurt a guy that you actually have in your agency, LeBron, you fucking dumbass. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Andrew saying Raptors fans will let LeBron know what they think in Toronto next game. I really hope we do. I don't want to have a bunch of LeBron fans in there. I know a lot of people go to that game because they like to see LeBron. So we need to make sure we have more real Raptor fans in there than these LeBron fan fuckers that come in there with their LeBron jerseys and try and like cheer for him while they're there. I don't want any of that on Friday night. I want our people to be way louder and really boo him, boo the shit out of him because he deserves it at this point after last night. G saying the media is making it like that was a natural play to get it out of bounds. It wasn't. There was nothing natural about it. We go over this all over the place. We can do this shit like the grassy knoll in Houston with JFK, and we could get the pointers out and this trajectory fucking lines and shit, and we'll show that this has nothing to do with trying to hit the ball off him to go out of bounds, that he had an easier chance to throw it to a teammate or to just save it himself and try and come back into the court. It was like he wasn't falling out of bounds that much. He may have been able to catch his balance and keep going. He just slung the ball out of him out of anger. All right, let's keep going. Marlon, we need OG back just to body slam someone. Yeah, fuck it. Let's see Scotty body slam someone. He may not be able to do that as a rookie. You're not allowed to body slam someone as a rookie. They don't want him to come in and do that. But Scotty's going to be able to body slam someone next year. Oh, yeah, when he's a veteran, a 2-year vet, because he's going to be a veteran already. After this year, rookie, he's straight to a vet because he's playing like a vet. Seymour saying that body slam was straight out of WWE. Yeah, that one on Gary Trent, like I said, that's so stupid. LeBron, that's one of your clients. That's Omar Wilkes' client, OG Anunoby. And Omar Wilkes works for Clutch Sports with Rich Paul. And you're going to throw somebody who's supposed to be a money person for you and your organization and one of your clients, you're going to fucking hurt him like that? That's messed up. And part of also that I have a clip at the beginning of the season is about OG Anunoby and Gary Trent being Clutch clients. Is that a conflict of interest? That LeBron owns Clutch Sports and these guys' contracts and all these things, stuff like that. Is there a conflict of interest that LeBron is basically the agent for OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr.? I wonder about that. Seriously, you got to think about all that. I hate that he's doing that right now while he's still a player. You needed to wait until you retired because there's a lot of collusion, a lot of fucked up bullshit you could be doing manipulating the league on the down low with the stuff that you know as an agent working it within Clutch. I hope that he is not allowed to see the kind of interactions between Bobby Webster and Gary Trent Jr. and OG Anunoby as far as their contracts, because that is unfair. And in a way, that to me is so fucking fishy. That's like U.S. senators buying stocks for things that they know are going to go up ahead of time. That's the kind of shit that I think is going on with LeBron, with this sports management, with Clutch. So it's a really fishy like situation. That's why I want him to retire. Partly is because I hate that situation with OG and Gary. Is that there is a conflict of interest. I really feel like there is one somewhere in there. Let's see. G says, does anyone think LeBron will be injured and not come to Toronto for the next game? That's a good, highly possible thing. I think you may be right. We'll see. I was really shocked, actually, he played last night. The way they handled the leading up to the game, like we heard Fred was ready and he was going to play last night early in the day. But Frank Vogel, when he came out and did his pregame interview, he said, we don't know if LeBron's going to play. He's going to warm up and then decide. It will be truly a game time decision. Well, I was like, that's really setting it up that it's like, okay, LeBron's not going to want to play. This is his second night on a back-to-back. They played Phoenix the night before. And normally dominating and how bad they were, I think he might have thought maybe I made the wrong decision, that maybe I should have sat out and I didn't want to play in this game. So maybe you're right, Andrew. Maybe, or G, maybe he will be injured and not playing on Friday for the Lakers. Andrew saying Scotty Wood, like Hollywood. I like that. Past California, Scotty Wood, Fred Van Nuys. I don't know. Fred Van Nuys. I don't know. We can make up all kinds of ones like that. Tom Duke saying that is effed up. If that is true about hating Spicy P, preach, Alexi. I hate that too. Well, getting back to that whole thing, it's just like I did a lot of graduate studies in sociology and in like society and racism and deviance and fertility, all kinds of sociology topics. And one of them is racism. And there are a lot of studies that has to do with darker pigment and things like that, and how the levels of racism go further the darker you are. And that is very true with Pascal, unfortunately. And then, like I said, you add in this whole thing where he's not even American. He's from Cameroon. He's from another continent. Then there's a whole other level of detachment from belittling and besmirching somebody like that. And that's fucked up. And that's part of the reason why we need to change this in the world. The more we talk about it, we can't have a blind eye to it. This whole fight in the United States about critical race theory right now is very important because it's a fight for history. It's a fight for the truth. And what's happening is these motherfuckers who don't believe in it, who are against it, are people that are trying to not show or shine the light. And it's just like this. It's similar to like LeBron. It's like the NBA media saying, well, he didn't do that. He didn't do anything wrong. It's people like that poo-pooing real injustice, poo-pooing real issues in the history of the United States and Canada for things that happen with race. And that's why CRT is one of the most important battles in society right now. The fight that should be taught in school. That we need to teach our children the real history of the world and our countries so that we are not doomed to repeat our own mistakes. And that's the only way we progress as humanity and society is when we understand these kind of things. So CRT is real important to me. And anybody who's against CRT being taught in schools is against the truth, is against history, is against reality. They want to rewrite things in a way that makes them look better. And that's what is really important. These are fights that are real important in today's society. And I love that young people are more woke and they are the change that's going to happen no matter what. All these dead racist motherfuckers, these old ass motherfuckers are going to die. And the young people are raised up and they learn and they understand. They know what something like critical race theory is, and they're going to go find out and learn about it themselves. And then they will make a better society as they get older and they're more in charge and stuff like that. Like my generation has its place as a bridge between those lying ass fucks from ahead of us and then these young people that are trying to make changes. Yeah, if I can be the truth in between and say, yeah, y'all are right, youngsters, and you go your own way and don't listen to these old racist ass motherfuckers, then I'll do it. And that's just a part of it all and stuff like that. The more aware we all are and the more educated and understanding the mechanisms of racism and inequality in society are happening, the more we can do about it. the more we can change it. And that's why, even though this is a basketball channel, this is a life channel. I like to help people with all kinds of different things. If y'all had life problems in your own lives and you want to talk to me about them, you needed help or counseling, I could do that because I do stuff like that. I'm a sponsor for alcoholics. I'm a person that's a life coach for different people to help encourage them to do the best in their lives if they can. So I am that resource also. And as a whole on this channel, I will talk about this kind of stuff. I won't stay away from it. I'll talk about Ukraine. I'll talk about the convoy. I'll talk about any of this political stuff because it's all very important. And we need to get the right stuff out there for people to know and understand. It may turn some people off on this channel, but that's you know what? I'm just falling in line with my team, my franchise. We are a socially conscious, social justice warrior team. And that is why we had that bus down south that said Black Lives Matter in the Tampa year. That is why we are a team that are making a difference in Africa. We're a team that is standing for equality and justice for everyone. And I'm just a part of that. And I'll do my part with my mouthpiece and my part of it. That's what it is all about. Marlon Toby saying, yay, we kicked their ass on live on US TV. Stephen A says Frank Vogel has to go on his ESPN First Take show. Yeah, you guys were all saying, I want to see what the First Take people are saying after we play the Lakers. And well, now we're hearing what they're saying. Fire Vogel. I wish they would talk more about how dirty LeBron was this morning. Like, really, in reality, they maybe should. And maybe the Canadian media guys should talk about it more up here, but they won't. Like, people like Michael Grange sucks LeBron's dick. Like, motherfucker, yesterday during the day, Michael Grange is posting LeBron's greatest hits against Toronto. All the times that he broke our hearts on the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs against DeMar and Kyle. Fuck you, Michael Grange. Yeah, I know that LeBron's one of your favorite players, but the way you suck his dick through your writing and all your bullshit, fuck you, go away. You know, even when you were tweeting during the game last night, you're showing favoritism to him that is very similar to what we're talking about in the U.S. media last night. And you know what? You're Canadian media. You're Toronto's Raptors media. So fucking get on the right page and stop being such a LeBron homer, you fuck. Sucking his dick like that. You know, once again, you were starting to get my good books, Michael Grange. But when you pulling that LeBron sucking his dick bullshit yesterday, I'm like, nah, you're not one of us. I'm sorry. All right, let's see. Banana Bread 10, I agree. Pascal isn't seen as a skillful player. They downplay him because he's different. His attitude and mindset is not North American. Yeah, that's one of the